What's going on, everybody? This is a non-spoiler review for Superman. That's right, the new Superman movie, the Man of Steel, if you will. DCU. James Gunn begins it all with this Superman film. David Corenswet plays Superman. You've got Rachel Brosnahan as Lois. There's so many other peeps in this movie. We have Nicholas Hoult playing Lex Luthor. And so I went into this movie, and the first concern was going to be like, James Gunn likes to use humor, right? So is this movie funny? Yeah, it is. Does it overpower the movie? Not to me. And that was the thing. When I looked at the trailer, I said, oh, man, is that going to be in the right place? We're like, oh, what a serious Superman? You want a serious Superman? No. I want this type of tone where when in the moment it feels right and it feels like, okay, you've set that up enough that I understand that character would say that. And that was the case. It certainly was the case for David Corenswet, to where they set him up right away, and how he is, his persona never really changes. Now, I do think that he could have been developed a little bit more. It's not the performance of David Corenswet, per se. I think that he really embodies what Superman is. This is the most comic book accurate version of Superman that I think that we've ever seen, because he's fighting kaiju. There's villains left and right. There's people flying in the sky. He's fighting. He's teaming up with Green Lanterns and doing a lot of not necessarily outer-worldly stuff, but it certainly is set up for down the line. He's got a super dog. So it doesn't try to base itself in realism. This is made for the comic book fan. It really is. It's made for the comic book fan. As far as an overall movie goes, it does set a nice tone where Kal-El is trying to just do good. He's trying to be a good human being, even though it's thrown in his face that he's not. And he is constantly fighting that fight. And even when it takes place, it's a few years into his career already. So and then you throw in the aspect of social media. He's popular, but then there's a sect that doesn't like him. Why don't they like him? Lex Luthor happens to be the biggest troll of them all. He wants to make sure that Superman is Gonski and will do whatever he can to make that happen. I thought that a lot. Nicholas Hoult it's very similar to David Corenswet. He does the job. This is the most evil Lex that we've seen. I would have liked to seen a little bit more from this Lex, instead of just I'm evil. That's what he is. He's just evil and hates Superman. That's what we get out of him for the most part of this, right? That was one aspect. I was like, oh, he's so good, but maybe just a little bit more. And this is something that comes down the line when they make another movie. They can explore this a little bit more. Maybe they should try to just set up the world, set up where they are. They throw you into the Superman in his prime already, doing his thing. The relationship between Lois and Clark already happening. And I think that their chemistry makes you believe right away, okay, this is a new, fresh relationship. They're both trying to balance it, make it work. And it does. I loved Jimmy Olsen. There's a few things. Didn't love saying that the actor didn't do a good job of Miss Tessmacher isn't fair, because there are certain aspects where she really shines. But there's a couple times that it played a little goofy in the middle of a battle, but I was like, again, it's not enough for me to say, oh, it took me out of it. I was in it. I was locked in, because what James Gunn does, he really sets you on this Superman adventure, and he does take the essence of what Superman is all about. And obviously with the S of the hope, but he just wants to do right. He does get a little pissed off at times because people keep questioning what he's trying to do. And there's another thing that's kind of hanging in the balance, and I'm not going to spoil it. That'll be for the spoiler review, of what kind of calms him, but also thinks that it's the reason why he's here, and he's watching these things happening. And if there are certain things that maybe question that and turn it on its head, how do you deal? There is a lot going on. Sometimes I was like, oh, this is really busy. There's a lot of stuff happening with, again, Mr. Fantastic, who is fantastic. And Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner, and I'm like, okay, a lot going on. Is this going to be too much? It's like, no. Then it starts to kind of really bounce back and focus in on Superman, which is a major thing here. This movie focuses on Superman, doesn't really focus on Clark. I don't even know how much Clark is even in the movie. This really is all about, when they say, sometimes people go, oh, it's called Superman. The guy's not even Superman for 5 seconds. He's Superman for the majority of the movie. Some of you might not like that. Some of you are like, I wish you would have kind of gone back and forth. This is really about setting the tone of who he is. Even when he's with Lois, like there's not that dynamic of, oh, she's not going to know that it's me. I put on these glasses. There's a couple of things that they did as far as the lore about explaining certain things that I thought was really interesting. And it very well could be something that they explain in the comic books. I have no idea, but I thought it was clever on some of the things they did. Crypto is a question, right? Crypto is going to be as far as, because when I saw Crypto, and it's the same thing, I was like, oh, I don't know, there's a lot of the goofy stuff with the dog. Is that going to be overwhelming? Oh, you don't like dogs? I do like dogs. I have a dog. I love my dog. And yes, my dog can do stuff like that where I'm trying to lay down and he jumps on me and I'm like, cut it out. I'm trying to sleep. Of course, I understand it. The question I again had, is this going to be a problem? Is he going to be overbearing? And he's not. He's used at a really good pace. So when they set him up again, okay, this is who this dog is. This is the reason why this dog is this way. And when he shows up, you're like, oh, I pretty much know what he's going to do. There were a couple of those moments, by the way, too, that I did say, well, this is going to happen. It did. It's not as much as it's different in painting a new version of Superman being comic book accurate. It's fairly, I don't know if safe is the right word, because I don't think I can use that word, because there's a lot of science fiction kind of weird shit going on that I think they take some big swings with that I think is not very safe. So I can't say that. And because they lean so heavy onto the comic book lore, it's not as safe. I think that the answer is there's a couple predictable moments, right? Like there's a few times like, oh, music swelling. Oh, they're supposed to think this, and you're like, clearly this is going to happen. And then that happens. And there's a couple tropes in there. Again, doesn't take away from the movie, but enough for me to go, okay, some predictable things here. But then you get right back in there. You're locked in again with David Corenswet taking you on this adventure because he plays this is a different version. He's not trying to be, I like Brandon Routh in that 2006 version, right? But he was pretty much trying to do, and probably directed to do, what Christopher Reeve did. And because it was in that same continuity. Henry Cavill had a very different take on Superman. There were different takes in general. This is a different take. I've not seen this version of Superman the way, and at first I didn't know if I was going to dig it because of the way certain things that he's saying. Like I told you, the trailer that I saw, when that moment in the trailer when Mr. Fantastic said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's laying around. I was like, "I'm not laying around. I'm doing stuff." I was like, "Oh, please tell me that has significance," and it does, and it sets him up from the beginning of that's kind of how he is. So when that line is delivered, I'm like, okay, to me, that character, that version of what we've seen so far, he would do that. That is what I meant when I was looking at those trailers before. And I stand by it. Had it been out of nowhere, and had he been doing all these different things throughout the entire movie, and then he's just like, oh, I'm just going to crack this little quip here. It's what he does throughout the movie. It's his personality. It fits the tone. Rachel Brosnahan, really solid as Lois. Same critique that I have more so of the script than I do of her. I wanted more with her. I wanted to learn a little bit more about her, Lois. And I think that one of the things that happens here is because you're into this 3-year journey already of Superman, and the fact that Lois and Clark are already together, that it almost like says, hey, all that stuff we would have set up in a first movie, just know it happened. And you're like, yeah, I get it. And I understand it. But I still would have liked to see it a little bit more, because you just said, hey, Lois and Clark are a thing, and here they are. They're kissing in the kitchen. What do you think? And you're like, I like it. I buy it. I believe it. But man, I would have liked to see more of a lead up. And there's little moments like that. But overall, I really had such a fun time watching this movie. And it was just like one of those things where it's like, this is an adventure. It's an adventure. And watching Superman do it. And I felt like I was watching, I think that's the thing. It made me feel like a kid, because when I was watching this, I definitely was brought back to watching like a Superman animated show when I was younger, and I was just like, eating cereal, seeing, oh, that's what Superman can do. Superman can do all that kind of stuff, and Superman's fighting with this super friend, and then Superman's fighting this big monster. Superman, it was that. And I don't know if that's going to be for everybody, but it was for me, because I like to see Superman in this, again, comic book crazy world. And like I mentioned, the science fiction stuff, there's a ton of it, whether it's this certain technology and other things that are happening, space and time and all this stuff. So it was a very solid film. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I did, and I think James Gunn has had a very good start here to this film. So I'm going to go 4.1 out of 5 for Superman. I think it's a good start. Lacking some character stuff here and there. The music was fantastic. The music was good. I don't think that they tried to beat you over the head with the John Williams score. They used it in the right moments with some original stuff also, and that's always a big plus on my book. And there's a lot going on. Sometimes it's a little too much. Other times it blends in perfectly. But for the most part, this is a great start for the DCU. So it's my thoughts, man. Superman. What do you guys think? You want to see this? Do you don't want to see it? Are you going to see it? You're going to see it opening weekend. Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. I'm sure everybody's going to be so nice and wonderful to one another in the comments, right? That's what Superman's all about. It's not going to be anything except peace and love in the comments. Am I right? Yep. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you, and we'll see you on the flip side. Subscribe to the channel. We're like 800 people away from 200,000 subscribers. All you have to do if you're brand new here is click that button. That's it. Done. Get us to 200,000. We have live shows. We do interviews. We do out of the theater reactions. We do movie reactions. We do movie reviews, clearly. And we do a live show every day. Well, Monday through Friday. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. All right, summer. It is here. More sun, more light, more time to do all the things that make summer so special. Number one thing you don't want to do all summer, you don't want to spend hours cooking inside. Trust me, it's hot. That's where Factor comes in. Factor chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, taking the hassle out of eating well. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle over summer and beyond. Factor powers your day sun up to sundown with nutritious breakfast, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. Factor has your whole day covered. Enjoy more this summer and get Factor if you want all the flavors and none of the fuss. Absolutely love Factor. You guys know I've been talking about Factor forever because it is so good, and they give you the options that you need. If you have a particular diet that you're on, that for me is like, I'm all about the protein right now, guys. And boy, did they have just delicious stuff. I love coming back from, if it's a day at work, if it's something that I need to do if I'm coming back from the gym, Factor has me covered. So get started at factormeals.com/Christian50off. Use that code Christian50off to get 50% off free shipping on your first box. That's code Christian50off at factormeals.com/Christian50off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/Christian50off.